If Test cricket ever needed a reintroduction, this series was the perfect example of that. 5 Test matches, English summer, Anderson-Tendulkar trophy, and boy, how close that was. Neck to neck, two apiece. That was some really, really competitive cricket.
I agree because when you look at the recent test matches that have happened, be it in India or be it somewhere else, you feel these matches are getting over on the third day, fourth day. And that is where I guess the conversation started coming out that test cricket should be only for 4 days. But when you look at a series like this where all the matches are going down till the last day, you feel that there is a reason why test cricket was invented for 5 days. And I don't think there can be a much better example than this test series.
Absolutely. 25 days of hard fought cricket. And, both the teams matched themselves, be it in the batting, bowling, fielding, be it in dropped catches, be it in sledging, be it in any controversy. Both the teams were, matching each other right there. If you have to sum up this whole series in one word, what would it be, sir?
I would say this was, in one word, it's going to be very difficult, but I would say competitive is the right word that we can use because both the teams were neck to neck, and the way the series has panned out right from the day one till the last day itself, I think competitive is the right word.
Yeah, absolutely, sir. So let's touch upon the last test match yesterday. What were you feeling? What were your hopes going to the final day?
I mean, the match, again, it was an exciting one. We saw almost everything that we could see centuries, you saw comebacks, and then England chasing 374. And when it went to the fifth day with them just requiring somewhere around 35, 36 runs, and that is where we always thought that should this have been continued on the day four itself, it might have worked well for England. Maybe they would have won the game if we continued for that extra 30 minutes if we played after 6 p.m. But then when it started on day five, and you see Prasidh Krishna and Siraj bowling and the kind of momentum that they had, I mean, they were pitching it bang on. Of course, in the first over, we gave away those two fours, but we felt that they had taken the game away. But they, again, kudos to Krishna because he did not change the line. When a bowler gets hit for those kind of shots, you ideally try and change the field, change the line. But he continued to do that, put it right in that length, and eventually got the results. So, okay, and Siraj also, you have to give him the credit. The kind of bowler he has turned up for India, and in absence of Bumrah, he has done a phenomenal job. And I don't think we'll ever find another bowler in this era who can actually match the level of hard work and consistency that Siraj is putting in.
Absolutely. Siraj was phenomenal in this whole series, highest wicket taker for us. And, the amount of workload which he had, like 5 test matches all the days. And, even the pitches, they were so batting friendly. They were so,
Correct.
there was so less movement for a pacer. And it was very anti-English conditions, which you usually expect from England. And still to go up there and play all the 5 test matches and produce a performance like this. And yesterday, of course, when it mattered the most, he turned out both of them were bang on. So let's talk about pitches a bit. Like, what were you expecting these kind of pitches in all the 5 test matches, or were you feeling like no, the typical English pitches will come someday?
See, once I think Rohit and Kohli were out of the equation, I think they even thought of trying to go back to these kind of pitches because again, for them to play baseball, these kind of wickets are going to be their advantage. Of course, if Kohli and Rohit both would have been in the squad, they wouldn't have dared to even make those pitches because for them, even they know if one of these players gets to bat on these batting friendly wickets, they might even take the game off in one innings. So once they were out of the equation, I expected them to have, I wouldn't say exactly these kind of batting friendly pitches where you'll see so many scores being, I mean, so high scores being made. But be it right from Leeds till the last game at Oval, the pitches I would say were more batting friendly throughout the series. And it actually had an advantage for both the squads. It wasn't like they had an added advantage. They didn't have an added advantage for sure because we also are used to kind of batting on these kind of conditions. If we would have got the traditional wickets that England generally produces, maybe our batters would have faltered in between. But I guess it was a good competition between the bat. But at the same time, it was a very difficult task for the bowlers.
Yeah.
They had to give everything that they have, considering that Bumrah was going to be out for at least two of those tests. I think we have done a tremendous job in terms of bowling and fielding. Of course, there were so many drop catches also,
Yeah.
but that's a part and parcel of the game. You can't think more about that. You just have to try and pick up the ball again and go back for the next delivery.
So you are satisfied with the result 2-2, right? Like
Definitely,
most
I
of the
would have.
people
I
expected.
think. I think Lords was our game to. We had to win that game for whatever reason. The target was just below 200, and you can't afford to lose games when you're playing in England and with a very low score to chase. And the again, Siraj was at the receiving end at that point of time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he tried his level best, but he couldn't take the team across the line. But I would say 3-1 could have been our chance of winning this series, but I think 2-2 is again 2-2 actually justifies the right kind of competition that has been throughout the 25 days of test cricket.
Absolutely. Like both of the teams gave their all. Like, and so you mentioned that there was no Rohit, no Kohli, even no Ashwin for that matter. And it never looked like we were missing at least Rohit and Kohli in batting. And like Washington took the baton from Ashwin. So they were never really missed. Like there was a lot of talk before the series that India is going to be like India will miss them a lot. It's very difficult for our batting lineup because it's very young, very new. A lot of debutants coming in England. So it never really happened.
So Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli again are stalwarts of Indian cricket. I mean, they have been around the circuit for so many years that whenever these kind of players, not just these guys, even Ashwin for that matter, or if these kind of legend players, they actually take a step back, you start questioning whether will there be people who can, fill up their roles. And even when you look at from a captaincy point of view, Shubman Gill was questioned before the series, the kind of innings he had played in foreign conditions. Everyone thought whether can he have that role of a captain, can he be in that mindset to improve his batting performance as well as ensure that the team is getting ahead. But I think these guys have done a really good job, and you'll have these questions time and again. I mean, even after Jadeja, let's say he's towards his end of his career, he's going to play for at least another maybe 2 years, 3 years. You never know. He has the kind of fitness that you generally require.
Yeah.
But if let's say tomorrow he decides to retire, there will be questions whether who can be that kind of all rounder who's going to be playing so consistently for India. But I think you see Washington Sundar and you feel that there is so much talent left. I mean, there are players sitting out who might not even have been considered for this series. And we have so much immense talent sitting out there. So I don't think you will ever have the dearth of finding these replacements. But yes, the questions are always going to arise because of the kind of contributions these stalwarts have given to Indian cricket. But I think the credit has to go to Shubman Gill. The credit has to go to experienced players like KL Rahul, Jadeja, and also all the youngsters who have given us the hope that Indian cricket, no matter what, is always, always, always going to be in the safest hands.
Yeah.
Because of the kind of talent
there was
that we
never
have.
any like lack of so there is always B team, C team, D team, and
Correct.
even they are also like so talented. So there's never any lack of talent. That's why the movement of like shifting of the phase was very important. So that's what even I feel that Captain Gill, like even though he was questioned that why he should be given the captaincy, his test average was very low. Captaincy, like he doesn't have that much of experience. But again, he came out like with a very big and bold quote that before the series that I want to become the best batter of this series, and he did exactly that. He scored some 750 plus runs, four big centuries. One was one match actually he scored two centuries and like made the whole match for himself. Apart from that, the aggression and all, what do you think of Captain Gill and this new era?
See, I always believe that for a captain to be young shouldn't be the criteria to judge anyone. I mean, he's very young, he's trying to learn things, but the leadership is never looked at from a point of who is young and who is experienced. Rather, it is the quality of the leader of how he can try and use the resources that he or she has, and then eventually make something out of that. And I think Gill was able to bring that right combination. And if you have seen all the matches, you could constantly see Gill approaching KL, approaching Jadeja, and continuously talking to them, figuring out what can be done in these kind of situations. Of course, he had the backing of Gautam Gambhir and the entire support staff whenever they had the breaks where they used to have those conversations going on. But I think Gill has done a really good job. And for him, everyone at that point, you saw that he was trying to chirp in with the batters, the English batters, and make them uncomfortable. And everyone questioned that why is he doing that? He doesn't need to be Virat Kohli or something like that. See, and these comparisons will keep on coming again and again because that have been the cases in the past. But what Gill ensured that this is also his kind of style. He is also someone who can be calm at times, but he's also someone who's going to give it back to them on their face if he feels that this is the time to do so. And I think Gill has that temperament also to be a good leader for Indian cricket. And if he's trying to build on these kind of roles where, he's going to lead as well as trying to improve his performance, that is going to be an added advantage for him. And we have seen that in the past. There are captains, who were given the responsibility of becoming the captain, which in turn helped them to develop their batting performance also. And I think Virat Kohli for that matter. And I think Gill is also on those lines, at least for this series that we have seen. But we would want to see this more. And especially outside India is something in the Sena countries is what we want to see Gill trying to define that kind of template that he has created for himself. Right. And I think Gill is going to be a lot more successful when he does this. And again, setting the right combination of having three pacers or maybe two spinners, both of them turning out to be all-rounders. Yeah. All those kind of, everyone questioned whether Kuldeep Yadav should be brought into the attack or not. But kudos to the team also for the fact that they believed that Washington and Jadeja can give them the breakthroughs as well as give them the batting depth. And that is the reason why we had a strong batting lineup. Yep. Like promoting Akashdeep as a tail ender and him going to score on 66. Yeah. And then eventually having Washington Sundar down the order playing at number 8 or 9. Yeah. That was such a game changer for us. And in fact, this particular match, the last match that you see, the reason why it went on till the 5th day, and also the second innings for us, the innings that Washington Sundar played, that was the biggest difference that is actually being unnoticed at this point of time. So when you look at it from a broader picture, there are so many things that you can take into consideration and see whether the combinations were right or not. But at the end of the day, when these guys will look back at the scoreline, I think everyone's going to be content.
Yeah, that's really amazing point. You talked about leadership of Captain Gill. So another leader which I want to bring in the conversation is Gautam Gambhir. He was under a lot of scrutiny before the series, getting whitewashed with New Zealand, losing the BGT. And I think he had just one win in 13 games before the series. And even during this series, he was under a lot of pressure of media. He fought with the groundsman at Oval. So what do you make of Gautam Gambhir as the coach? And do you see any changes being made in this?
I don't think any changes are going to be made, considering that we have won the series pretty well. I mean, not won, but for us, it's our biggest. We can consider this as a victory with the kind of cricket that we have played. But I think Gambhir has been that kind of person or a player right from his playing days as well. And he has brought that quality into the coaching arena. And when you look at it, I think that is also being infused by the Indian cricketers. The people that are around Gautam Gambhir right now, they are not ready to take a step back. Even Jaiswal, for that matter, whenever he was fielding near to the 30-yard circle, he was trying to be constantly there in the head of the batters. Yeah. So I think these qualities are being defined by the coach, by the support staff. They have created a plan. They want to be aggressive. Of course, they don't want to cross that line. And if you would have seen after the match, they had shaked hands and everything for almost all the matches except for that one where that handshake controversy happened. But apart from that, I think what Gautam Gambhir is trying to do is a very, very systematic plan that he has. And you wouldn't see a change in his plan with every game. The results in the past haven't been as to exactly what he wanted. But going ahead, if we win another Sena series from here where Gambhir is the coach, I think that can be a good template also for going ahead. See, every coach that comes into picture will take some time. Yeah. Of course, Gautam Gambhir has taken a lot more time than what the other coaches have done. Ravi Shastri, for that matter, when he came into the picture, he was bang on the target right from the first series. Yeah. The mantra was very clear for them to take those 20 wickets. That template is being carried on, but you need because there is such a big shift also in terms of the players retiring and the other players stepping in. this might take some time, but we are very lucky that this series, lucky in the sense that in this series we were able to show whatever we exactly wanted to, and I think it's a good template to go ahead with.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, So basically, 20 wickets again. That template might have changed a bit in this series because our bowlers were not that aggressive or that bang on to take 20 wickets in every game. It never looked like in a few games, like in the last fourth game, England just batted us out of the game.
Correct.
So maybe it's pitches, maybe it's the template, maybe it's the Duke's ball. What do you want to say about that?
See, that controversy of playing with the Duke's ball, playing with the conditions, the pitch being created or curated in that way. These kind of questions will always keep on arising. I mean, if those English cricketers come and play in India, they'll always question, why is this pitch turning so much? There is dust on this pitch. Whenever we go to South Africa, we always question, why is there so much bounce? All those DRS controversies come into picture. All those LBW calls become so controversial. So you have to look at it from an angle where, for England, these were the home conditions, so they could do anything that they wanted, and that is fair on everyone's part, because when we bring them here, the wickets are so spin friendly. Now that we also are trying to make the wickets flat here, so that it's a proper battle between the bat and the ball, but you can't look at that as a controversial decision, because that is how their conditions are, and you will have to adapt to it as soon as possible. And I think that was the first test, the Leeds test that we played right at the beginning, was a wake up call for us that we can't be cribbing about what has happened. We lost that test, no doubt, but coming back and bouncing back and winning by 336 runs is a huge, huge margin. Yeah. So technically, we also understood that we can't, sit back and discuss the controversies again and again. Rather than that, try to evolve, try to adapt, bring in the right combinations, and try to win the game.
Do you think England would be content with the result of the series?
I don't think so, especially when you look at all the suggestions and the expectations of all the seniors around before the predictions around before the start of the series. Everyone thought this was England series. They would either win it by 3-1, 4-1, maybe whitewash. Anything could happen, and they always looked at it as a wake up call. They looked at it as a warm up for the Ashes. Yeah. But right now, what they have actually got is a wake up call, and I think it is beneficial for them that in this series that they have understood what is going right, what is going wrong, and maybe that will help them to change their plans. See, the baseball approach, whenever we are talking about it, if you see, they really haven't won big against India and Australia with the baseball approach. Whatever has happened is happening with the other teams that they are playing with. So if you look at the results, the records.
No, but they did chase, like in the first game they chased 370 plus. Again, last time when we played in Birmingham, they chased 370.
But that's those odd games that they are winning because of the baseball approach. Yeah. But when you look at the other teams, they're constantly winning with the approach, and that is why they're thinking this is the right approach to go ahead with. But that hasn't happened a lot with India and Australia. So that is the reason why now they'll be more cautious. I think they'll devise it in a much better way. I don't think the approach is going to change. It's just a matter of putting the right intent in the right phases of the game rather than just going bang bang from the beginning. Of course, Zach Rowley and Ben Duckett were really good right throughout the series. They gave the right start to England. But after that, what has happened, I would want them to, eventually try and put more focus on the middle order, because that is where the most contribution is going to happen, especially against Australian bowling attack. So that is where I think England has actually found the right series to figure out each and everything that they have done.
Okay, that's good. So we have talked about a lot of drama and controversies. Let's talk about the injuries. A lot of injuries in this series. From our side, from their side as well. Like from their side, if you talk about Shoaib Bashir, Chris Wokes in this game, Ben Stokes in the last game he got injured, and from our side, Rishabh Pant. Then we had news of Nitish Kumar Reddy, Akashdeep, even Arshdeep missed out one match. So what do you think? Is it that 5 matches are way too much for a big tour so that people are not able to adjust? But then again, you see people like Siraj who are running in and giving their all in all the games. So is it the fitness of the players? What do you think it is?
See, for any player to represent their country should be their topmost priority. I mean, that is a question that each player will have to ask himself. What is he putting ahead apart from everything else? And if you are getting injured because of your workload, then I think there is a problem in you choosing the matches that you want to play. Because there are people like Mitchell Stark, there are players like Stark who have been so consistent for the Australian team for so many years. And even today, if you put a match where Stark is going to come and bowl, you are expecting him to bowl 140, 145.
Absolutely, yeah.
So if there are players who can do like that, why can't we do that? So if these injuries and everything are again becoming a question because of the workload that they are playing domestic games or they are playing league so much and then coming into the national side and then getting injured, then I think you'll have to stop somewhere and put the emphasis and give the priority to the national cricket team. And if you look at it in that way, as much as I also agree for the fact that we are blessed enough to have Jasprit Bumrah playing for India, I somewhere feel that he shouldn't be put in that level where, we put guys like Mitchell Stark, because Stark does not come with saying that he's going to play only 2 matches out of the series or 3 matches. He's going to be there for every match, every series, whatever conditions it is going to be for Australia. They are going to play with their top 5 or 6 frontline bowlers that they're going to use. And that is where I think Siraj can be still put in that category, because he is someone, and if you look at the press conference, the kind of attitude that he has, that for me it is just coming and just bowling my heart out.
Yeah.
For him, there is no concept of workload.
Like that.
So if you have these kind of players, these are going to be your role models who you can look up at. And I think injuries is a part of the game. Of course, if there is anything that arises, like for example Rishabh Pant, he got hit on that toe. I mean, you can't do anything about that. So those injuries we can also understand. But if there are these injuries and questions about a player even before the start of the series, that he or she cannot play 2 games or 3 games out of the entire series, then the biggest question should come, that what are they prioritizing?
Exactly.
So
this controversy of Jasprit Bumrah, choosing so he did play the IPL this time,
Yeah.
and then he came into the series saying he'll just play 3 test matches. So what do you think? Should he be given that stature in the Indian cricket yet, or is it something?
See, he's a legend. I mean, the kind of games that he has won for India, I don't
But
think
we
any
did
other.
win those 2 games where he was not playing.
That is a part of the game. I mean, even if you talk about the BGT where Virat Kohli went after the first game and we won the BGT after
Yeah.
that, there are cases where the main players might have gone out of the squad and then the team wins. See, that is something that is the situation that has happened. You can't blame a person for sitting out and then the team
Yeah.
winning and then not bringing him back into the squad. But I always believe that we are very privileged and we are very lucky that Jasprit Bumrah plays for our country. But the biggest regret is that he cannot play all the matches. And the day that changes, the day we have Bumrah as a player who can play every single match for India, he will be probably the greatest bowler, even ahead of bowlers like Mitchell Stark.
Yeah.
So that is the biggest question that we have to look at and highlight, whether can we put him in that category right now, considering all the great performances that he has given? But then it comes to the point of consistency, whether he's that consistent enough that we can rely on him in every game, whether he can do and perform that for us in every game.
Yeah, it does seem like that. So we have almost touched upon everything in this series. What do you think is the future for the Indian Test cricket? Like, we have a couple of home series now. I think we are playing South Africa at home, and I think BGT this time in this cycle is at home.
See, home
So-
series, again, home series, I always look at it as an opportunity for us to try new people, because we know the conditions better.
Yeah.
We have the entire batting depth who can, just go out and play in those conditions. So that is where our experimental phase can come into picture, where we can bring in a few bowlers, maybe try all rounders and ensure that we have a good lineup ready when we go to Sena countries. So I don't think we need to worry much about the home conditions. Of course, we got whitewashed by New Zealand in the home conditions. But again, as Rohit Sharma said that time, that 12 saal mein ek baar to chalta hai. And I don't disagree to him, because once you perform so better almost every time, and there will come a time when you might not be at your best, and then people start questioning, "Arey, kaise haar gaye? How did that happen? How did we
But
get
losing
whitewashed?"
one odd game is fine, but getting whitewashed at
See,
home.
you have to then give credit to New Zealand for the way they
Yeah.
played. So, like how we have been winning 2 BGTs when we went to Australia. So they never thought that they were the weaker team. They always gave credit to us. Even if you look at yesterday's press conference by Ben Stokes or anyone from that English cricket team, each and every player, I mean, that is the level of respect that these guys should also deserve, because they actually treated each and every Indian player with great respect. They have credited Siraj, they have credited Washington, be it the Gill, the captaincy of Gill, everyone. So whenever we are losing, it's not always that we were on the wrong side. It's just that you have to accept that there are going to be teams better than you in a particular day or in a particular series as well. So the home conditions will never be a bigger question. Yes, of course, if from here on we go on to lose 2 more series or 3 more series at home, is when you start questioning whether what is going wrong. But I think one-off case can be considered apart. But apart from them, the whole focus right now for Indian cricket and Indian Test cricket going ahead is, if we want to be that dominant force like how the mighty Australians have been, we have to find ways of winning series in Sena countries.
Absolutely. That's been a really lovely chat with you, sir. So we have almost wrapped up the entire series and what's coming ahead in the Indian Test schedule. That's it from us at Game Time Banter. Thank you, everyone.